In the backwaters of Kerala, India, boatmen navigate a geographical rarity known as a halocline. The brackish, heavy tide from the Arabian Sea pushes inland, while freshwater descends from the mountains. These two currents occupy the exact same channel without ever mixing. They press against one another, each governed by its own internal logic. The global autonomous vehicle industry operates the same way. The United States and China are building the technology using incompatible industrial and economic logics. The boatmen in Kerala know that survival requires reading both currents. But right now, Western capital markets, analysts, and policymakers are standing on the bank, modeling the future while exclusively watching the American river. Ignoring the Chinese current leaves investors with a distorted map of where value and risk reside. The Sanskrit concept of Māyā describes an architectural misdirection, a partial truth elevated to the status of the whole. This table illustrates the misdirection. Wall Street prices U.S. robotaxi potential at roughly $2 billion per supervised test vehicle, but Chinese operators run massive, fully driverless networks globally. Comparing these operating realities reveals an implied per-vehicle valuation gap of 3,000 to 1. A skeptic would immediately point to the geopolitical risks. Chinese equities trade under the shadow of potential delisting, with opacity concerns in corporate structures. Meanwhile, American companies possess massive legacy manufacturing advantages and highly publicized safety records. Those factors warrant a discount. But while a 30% geopolitical discount reflects rational market behavior, a 99.9% discount suggests the market is pricing a narrative illusion rather than industrial evidence. Michael E. McGrath, a Harvard MBA and author of the definitive textbook on autonomous vehicle strategy, spent decades modeling U.S. market dominance. After analyzing the current data, his conclusion is that U.S. companies are competing against an integrated, state-coordinated system. McGrath identifies the American approach as the hunter archetype. The hunter focuses on chasing the perfect, transcendent algorithm to solve autonomy in isolation. This relies on a dumb road, smart car philosophy. Because U.S. infrastructure provides no digital assistance, the vehicle itself must carry an enormously expensive sensor payload. This requires heavy capital intensity to buy safety proofs and negotiate regulatory permission, one city at a time. The engineering here is brilliant, but it leaves the U.S. trapped inside a slow, capital-heavy patience machine that struggles to reach commercial scale. Niels, a lead analyst building bottom-up operational models for global mobility platforms, notes that Western markets mistake visible technological progress for actual economic progress. Pluijmen contrasts the hunter with the Chinese farmer approach. The farmer focuses on planting seeds across millions of vehicles through mass advanced driver assistance systems. The electronic safety features, like automated braking and lane keeping, built directly into consumer cars. The farmer's harvest relies on volume. By shipping standard autonomy-capable vehicles with systems that cost as little as $385, Chinese manufacturers generate a monsoon of 160 million kilometers of real-world training data every single day. This architectural diagram maps the 4 temples required for a self-sustaining autonomy ecosystem. The Chinese side has built all 4 industrial archetypes. The American side has 2 empty stalls. The U.S. ecosystem lacks the industrializer, the manufacturing colossus required to push autonomy into the mass market. The civilization with the manufacturing capacity to make autonomy ubiquitous holds the advantage over the one with the most famous algorithm. America has recognized this manufacturing gap. Regulators are dropping an iron curtain through the vehicle dashboard, using software bans and tariffs to insulate the domestic market and buy U.S. tech companies a protected window of time. This map illustrates the geopolitical reality of that strategy. The U.S. can successfully lock its own borders, but the Chinese autonomous procession is already expanding aggressively into unregulated corridors across the Middle East, Europe, and South America. These are not isolated tests in domestic Chinese districts. The technology is taking root and operating commercially in premium global markets, like the streets of Abu Dhabi. Global market bifurcation is now a structural reality. The technological procession will continue its advance, even if one Western market refuses to let it in. For investors, the challenge is to step outside the narrative illusion. You have to set aside the stocks you already own and look at the raw data to see which systems are actually working at commercial scale. To navigate the trillion-dollar autonomous demolition derby, you have to read both currents before they reach the ocean. Discover the full structural analysis in Saji Madapat's Dragon vs. Eagle, featuring expert contributions from Michael E. McGrath and Niels Pluijmen. Explore the valuation illusion for yourself. Available now on Amazon.